like I was saying, this is my favorite. So I kind of already started out, but it had 4 controller ports right here. It was probably had the most biggest color of its time, color-wise, and the logo just slapped right on there. Was great in design. I love it. It's smaller than the Xbox 360 over there on the Slim, and yeah, right down here, it came with a deck down here for an expansion bay for another thing. All right. I forgot what it was called, but they tried to do a disc format of it, and they tried to do another thing up here for it, for another. You simply plug the other thing into the top, and then plug for you to play NES games and SNES games for an adaptation to put on top. But if you put expansion on the bottom that they were making in Japan, it was a disc expansion that you put right here. You lift this off. Unfortunately, those only sold in Japan, and there were only a few games like Mario Paint. But yeah, let me get to the controller. Okay. Here is the Nintendo 64 controller. Probably my second favorite controller. I mean, it's an odd shape and size, just made everybody raise their eyebrows at the time. But it did give us the analog stick that we now use today on the Xbox 360 and DualShock and more. But from its competition, the DualShock 1 that didn't have, this is a PlayStation 1 controller, and a few years later they gave it analog sticks, just like they did with the to try to have more like Nintendo 64 like controller like. They gave the PlayStation 1 analog sticks a few years later. But most PlayStation controllers are good. DualShock's a great one. I don't really care for the third DualShock though. But PlayStation 2 actually, yeah, but this is a great little controller, and it's kind of got the weird handling. Hold on, let me do something real quick. So I gotta hold this. Yeah, hold it against it. I guess I can't do it with 2 hands, but like I said, when I was a kid, when I was very little, I started playing video games when I was about 2.5. My first few games were Mario Kart, Duke Nukem 3D. Reason why is because I had an older brother. But yeah, this controller, it came with a rumble pack and memory card in the back slot, as you can see right here. And honestly, the PlayStation 1 in sales wise during the time, in that generation, the PlayStation 1 won in sales, but popularity contest wise, popularity contest and respect contest, the Nintendo 64 won. But in sales, no. But in respect, yes. Don't get me wrong, PlayStation 1's probably like my 4th favorite console. And yeah, this has been part 1 of Nintendo 64 review. Don't you think, little man? Don't you, Oscar? You're such a good little dog. Yeah, but gotta get to some of the classic games. Just a second. GoldenEye right here is an example. It's easy to put in also. This Nintendo 64 was the last thing to give cartridges, and cartridges were just the best to me. I miss them because this can get so scratched up and everything. Yeah, I treat them a certain way. When cartridges, you just had to like blow on them. This little deck right here, and I love cartridges so much, and I love GoldenEye. That's probably like my 3rd favorite first-person shooter, maybe even 2nd first-person shooter. 2 best games on this console, in my opinion, were Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and Mario 64, and GoldenEye. All 4 of those were my favorite Nintendo 64 games. But this has been part 1 of Nintendo 64 review. I honestly give the Nintendo 64 a 9.8 out of 10. Don't you think that, Oscar? Don't you? Okay, just kidding, guys. This has been part 1 Nintendo 64 review. See you guys later. Love you. Bye.